Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam French. Now today's episode of Here's the Drill, we're going to do something a little different. Little Q&A session, unfiltered, trying to do minimal edits, and get to all these questions that you guys have, and some personal, some intricate, some very easy questions, some hard questions, and see what comes out of it. The goal for this is I'm going to host this video in a couple weeks, and then I'm going to have a bunch of reels that lead you to watch this whole thing. So if you are here after seeing it on a reel and you want to see the whole thing, thanks for coming back. There's going to be a lot here. In the comments below, in the section below, description, we're going to have the details of if you want to jump to a certain question, you'll be able to jump to it. And if not, stay tuned for the ride. Let's see how this goes. Trying to minimal edit, makes my life a little easier on the post-production side. Almost like an IG live, but it's an episode. So the first one that I want to get to is tips for BLC. My tips for BLC are this, and it's one of my most popular episodes that you can see. You can click on it and go check it out. But some of my biggest tips for you is the first thing is PRT. You guys need to know how to do PRT. One, it's getting on the stand and actually conducting it and executing it. That's a big deal. A lot of people can't get on a stand, let alone get in front of people. So learning how to do that, that's a big deal. Learning cadence, right? Learning how to call cadence in drill and ceremony, that's a big deal. Just have one. Just have one go-to cadence. I'm a steamroller, baby, and I'm marching down the line. Okay, just have something and you go to it. It's your automatic, okay? But the big thing for both of those is having and learning inflection. Having the difference between fall in and ball in. There's a level of communication. There's a level of inflection to that gives you that command of execution. Right? Peace! Should be a level. It should scare somebody. It should scare you. Peace! It should scare you. Right? Some of my other ones is land nav. Definitely want to look into land nav. I did an episode or a reel on this, on the trick of that compass and how to put those arrows together, and then you can just kind of run and use terrain association. I'm very, very big on terrain association instead of just kind of going in a direction and then dropping beads and then reshooting and then dropping beads and then reshooting and no. Terrain association, I go. I'll get more in depth on that too, though. And one of my last ones is teaching a class. You need to know how to teach a class. You need to know how to get in front of people and be able to present yourself and know the material that you know that you're about to teach, right? And that's a big deal. As an NCO or even an officer, as you move up in your career, you're going to have to eventually teach somebody what you know. And that's a big, big task for a lot of people. So what I'll tell you is learn how to teach a class, get in front of people and give that class, right? Rehearse your class. Go through, I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to allow for questions. I did a bunch of reels on this one. And trust me, there's a lot of good stuff in there that I learned from me teaching classes, from me being an instructor. There's a lot in there. So trust me, definitely a lot in there. So let's mark that off. I got that one done. Let's keep moving here. The second question I got here was, does the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy, if you know, you know, the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy really train you to be a drill sergeant or learned on the trail? This is a tough one, right? This is a tough one because there's so many different things you're going to learn in the schoolhouse, and I think being surrounded by those level of leaders, those professional drill sergeants on a daily basis, you learn from that, right? I don't care what anybody says. Job experience, on the job experience for anybody in any walk of life and any kind of job is absolutely crucial. I learned the most there. Did the academy set me up for success though? Yes, 100%. But can it prepare you for having one day off in 60, 70 days, working 80, 90-hour weeks, waking up at 3:30 in the morning, getting home at 100 at night, and still being able to perform, still being able to do PT, still being able to take care of your body, and then still being able to have time to care for those soldiers and not feel like you're burnt out? The academy definitely can't do that. So I want to say, does it really train you for it? I say it does. The one thing that I really wish, and I really wish they had this option, and obviously it would be, disclaimer, it'd be tougher on people with families, but I really would love a drill to be able to do basic and do AIT, because I was an AIT drill sergeant. Everybody's like, oh, sidewalk drill sergeant. Right, here we go. After being at MRT, MFT, and going down and talking to some of my basic training drills, we can argue back and forth on which one's more difficult, which one's harder, cycle breaks, you had cycle breaks, I had this. We can bicker back and forth, right? But I really wish that each drill got to see both, because I would have loved to done basic. I think there's a lot of stuff you can learn through that, right? And I think a lot of people would like to come up and see what the AIT world is. I think it prepared me to be a platoon sergeant way, way, way more than what a basic training one was. But there's a little bit of both in there, so that's a tall one. I'm going to cross that one out. Let's go to number 3 here as we stay on drill sergeants. Love drill sergeants. Let's go to tips for new drill sergeants, which we were kind of just talking already, and a little bit of pros and cons. The biggest tip I can give all my new drill sergeants, the biggest tip I can give you is know that when you get in your car to go home, or you walk home, or you bike home, or however you get home, that you turn it off. Leave it all in the car. Leave all the stress, leave all the chaos, leave every single thing in the car. That's it. Don't go home and take it out on your family. Don't go home and do anything of that. Not saying I had any issues with any of that, but it's just, it can be very difficult to turn off because you're turned on for 90, 80, 90, 100, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You're turned on. So it's hard to sometimes go home and turn that off. So if I can give you a tip, it's learn how to flush that out of your system and then become that human when you get home. The next one I want to tell you is, where are we at here, is don't forget about you. You're going to pour your life and soul into a lot of soldiers all the time. And watching them from failing something to passing something, from being afraid to be in front of somebody, afraid to be a leader, to all of a sudden they're your PG, they're your platoon sergeant, they're taking care of stuff. And you're watching that growth. It is so rewarding, and you're putting so much of your life, character, values, everything into these soldiers that all of a sudden you're going to have that time where you're going to go, you forgot about you. For real. Your physical fitness is going to fall down, right? Your mental side is going to fall down. You're not going to be eating well. You're definitely not sleeping well. All of these things are going to come crashing down. And the first thing I say is the first 90 days will be your toughest. You're going to look up and be like, what holiday did I miss? Because I'm telling you, you're going to miss one. That's some of the biggest definitely tips I can give you is don't forget about you. Just if you can have a time to just, this is my time, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to take care of myself. This is my time I'm making for my family, for my wife, for my son, for my daughter, everybody. You're going to make that time for those people. So don't forget about that, because the job's awesome. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome. Other tips when it comes to like just being a drill sergeant, the definite tip I would give you is don't be afraid to jump in the pool right when you get there. Right when you get there, set the tone for the drill you're going to be. You're going to see infractions everywhere. Soldiers are going to do things, they're going to do crazy stuff all the time, and it's okay. Get in there, make a correction, do that. Now, when it's time for you to go in there, take your brown and round off and actually care and listen to a soldier and be an empathetic and sympathetic leader, right? You need to do that too. You need to know that there's both sides of that hat. You'll see a lot of drills that are either yelling and screaming all the time and no one goes to them. Somebody that's a walkover and everybody goes to them. You need to find your way into the middle. And I'm going to tell you that. So don't bend once. Definitely don't bend once. When your credibility is gone, it's gone. And one thing I don't play with is if you see mommy daddy things going on, and what do I mean by mommy daddy things? I mean, hey Josar, can I go to the PX right now? Hell no. You know what time it is? No, get upstairs. Get out of here, right? Hey Josar, can I go to the PX? Yeah, you can go to the PX, go. And you see them ask and do that to you, and then they ask another drill sergeant, and then that drill sergeant says they can go, but you says you can't. No. Smash that stuff. That gets me. So my tips for new drills are that. Pros and cons. We'll go through pros and cons. There's a lot. That's a loaded question when it comes to pros and cons. It's definitely a loaded question. The pros are, to me, I became one of the biggest, most untouchable NCOs in my mind up here, right? When you realize that you can set your alarm for 3 something in the morning and go to bed at 20:30 and still be able to operate and do that 7 days a week for an entire month. Somebody tells you, hey, tomorrow you come in at 7 or 6:30, you're like, sure, I sure can. We're staying till 5 today? I can't believe we're staying till 5 today. I don't care. That's amazing. We're going home at 7:30? What a good day. So all those things, I think it makes you very self-aware of just how hard you can work and just what you're really capable of. So when you go to another unit, you always know you have that in your bag. You can always come back to your bag and be like, I got that. I can go back to that. And that's one of the biggest pros. The cons is the family time. The family time is rough because the time that you do get off, you just want to relax. You just want to decompress and stop yelling and stop thinking about this and what's chow coming, what time is chow coming? Oh, we got to move them. Okay, well, do we have the MREs? Do we have this? Do you get the bus? The bus is good. Do we got the ammo belt? Do we get the belt? Okay, we get the other. You're starting to bounce so much that when it's time for you to really decompress, it's really hard. Yeah, it's really hard. All right, let's shift off drills. Let's go here. Let's go to number 4. One of my favorite topics, and I'd love to talk about this one for a long, long time, is the VA loan more in depth. Have a little conversation here about talking about the VA loan and going more in depth. So some of my tips for VA loan is, the first thing I want to tell you is stop renting. Stop renting right now. And I don't care if you're a PFC, a specialist. I don't care what it is. Stop renting. I don't want to hear the market's too high, this is that. Like, stop renting and stop giving somebody else your money. Okay? There's never... It's hard to even say that, right? You just need to get into a house, and using the VA loan, and you go back, and I made a reel on this, is no down payment, right? There's no money coming out of your pocket to get into this house. Now, yes, can interest rates be different? They can. But now to go more in depth and go away from and go to step 2.0 or 102 of that reel for VA loans. Just to give you guys a little context, for me, I own 2 properties, and that's not to ring my own bell, but I bought a property at my first base at Bragg, and then I went up to Fort Meade, and I rented that house out at Bragg, and then I bought another one up in Maryland, and then when I went to Germany, I rented that one out. So I just kept going and renting these out and holding on to these properties. Now you say, well, I don't want, I hear a lot of people say that I don't want to have to deal with, being a landlord and take care of my tenants and take care of this. I'm like, it's true. It's exhausting. There's some times where I'm like, dang, I got to drive down to North Carolina. Dang, I got to go over here. I got to make this happen. I got to make some phone calls, a plumber or this or that or whatever. What I'll tell you is this is that stuff happens. It's life. It's the life of a homeowner. But everything good comes back to you, right? So when I have to buy new appliances, it sucks, right? But I'm taking the profit from what I'm earning from the rent to take care of those appliances, to take care of those things. So what I'm telling you is that value of the house is going to continue to go up. Your due out and your payment on that house is going to continue to come down. The profit you make is going to continue to go up. And the longer you hold on to a property, like especially now with houses just keep going up and up and up, I can't tell you enough to just buy. And to give you a little backstory too of some of the benefits of the VA loan is, I remember renting for the first 3 years on Fort Bragg, and I was renting, I don't even know, I was probably paying almost my entirety of my BAH. I was a little, E4, married, single, married, no kids. And I run into a sergeant major, and we talked to him. I was talking to him a little bit. I had a bike and he had a motorcycle, so we were both kind of talking a little bit. And he was like, you live in an apartment? He's like, why don't you use the VA loan? I was like, I don't know nothing about the VA loan. He's like, I'm gonna tell you about it. Come by, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll talk to you about it. So I went and talked to him about it, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if this is true, right? It's hard to believe people until you see, like, is this true? Is this real? And then I got to a realtor and talked to a realtor, and I had, decent credit right there, as I just got married, and we're just getting after it, and and then next thing you know, I'm looking at houses. I'm approved for a house. Next thing you know, that mortgage is $400 cheaper than my BAH, and now I'm pocketing BAH money, plus I own a home, it was just a no-brainer. And then I paid nothing out of pocket. It was a no-brainer. So for you, what I could tell you is some big keys, and we'll go quick so I can wrap this one up. The VA loan, what I'll tell you is, if you get a chance, buy a house. If you're scared to rent it after, hit me up. I have a bunch of rental leases and stuff like that I had run through legal, and I got a bunch of people that give it to me too. And I rent my stuff out myself. It saves me a lot of money. Period. That's just it. It saves me a lot of money. I don't pay 15% to somebody to look over my house of something that I can do. And if I can't physically be there, I'll pay somebody to go there and take care of something. I want that money in my pocket. So I fully support the VA loan. I want you guys to go check that out. Please utilize the VA loan. It is absolutely top 1, top 2, top 3 benefits of being in the military. Absolutely. I love talking about houses. It's one of my favorite things. It's set me up for so much success. Number 5 here. Okay, pretty cool question here. I like this one. It's difficult. So what could the National Guard learn from active duty? And it's a tough question, right? I think for me, when you go back to what can National Guard learn from active duty, I go, yes, you're a part-timer as a National Guard, right? It's just how involved are you? What I could tell you is if you go National Guard and then you're thinking about active duty and then you work alongside active duty every now and then, I'm sure you're picking them brain. I would hope you pick their brain because you're like, maybe I want to go active duty, right? And I've seen a lot of people say they get to AIT and I was their drill and they're like, dang, I really wish, like, this is really for me. I'm here every day. I love this, because if you don't know, when you're National Guard, once you get your MOS and you're going to go back to your state and you're going to be doing your thing, active duty goes right to a base and they get right after it. Now, they're there and they say, a lot of these soldiers are saying, well, I just wish I was active duty, but now I'm National Guard, And I think that's one of the biggest things the National Guard can learn from active duty is you kind of get a taste of, if you like it on the weekends, you'll like it during the week. And that's not always true for National Guard. It's not always true because the weekends are usually crazy for you. Now, I've never been a National Guard or a reservist, right? But I have a lot of people that do it, and they say the weekends are thrown together. Half the time we get to the place, we don't have all the gear. Not everybody's there. The training's half, you know what? And that can hurt your perception because that's not how active duty is all the time, right? Active duty is turned on. You're Monday through Friday, and most of the time you're going to be there. If there's stuff to do on the weekends, you got stuff to do on the weekends. You're a 24/7 soldier. Deployments, all that kind of stuff, missions, trainings, all that stuff's going to come up. It's not part-time. So you kind of get a taste of it, but you don't. But it's also hard because the one thing that I will tell you about military, whether you're National Guard or active duty, is every unit's different. I did a big episode on this a long time ago. It's one of my favorite episodes, one of the best knowledge I could ever give you guys. And that's literally, if you don't like your unit, the next unit could change your life. Because I was not very fond of my first unit, but I loved my second unit. I never wanted to leave 3rd Group when I was at 3rd Special Forces Group. Never wanted to leave. It was amazing. Culture, I couldn't wait to come to work. I loved it. I loved every single day of it. So that's the one thing I'll tell you is, I think you can learn a little bit about, the active duty style and how everything is, and does it fit you? So, all right, 6. This is a good one. When I wrote this down, I had to really think about this question. So you're going to see it slide up here on here, and it's having a hard time delegating things to soldiers. So one of my first things is that I think about with this is if you're having a hard time delegating tasks as an NCO, and I put myself in this picture, is this happens probably a lot to a lot of E4s that become E5s, and now they're in charge of their friends. It's a very difficult thing. The first thing that a unit should do is usually they need to break that team up, because being in charge of your friends is a very difficult task, and that's where that question kind of goes for me. But also is, if you happen to be in charge of your friends, which is the only time I can see you kind of having issues delegating this, if your friends respect you in the ranks and they know you just got promoted, then they'll listen to you. If they don't respect you, they're going to show right away. They're going to laugh at you. Like, oh, look at him taking it too serious. Look at her taking it way too serious. We identify your friends. Period. Now, if you're having if you're having trouble delegating tasks just in general because you feel bad telling people what to do, you got to get used to that. Because remember, your plate is still your plate. If this is my Thanksgiving plate, when I leave the first sergeant meeting as the platoon sergeant, I have to go back to my squad leaders and give them a certain amount of these things to do to help me so I can do this other list over here of things that I need to do, right? You can't just consume it all and watch people sit around. You got to learn to delegate. One of the best tricks and tips that I learned as delegating is when I came back from said meeting with First Sergeant, and there's 150 things on here, I never would go to my squad leaders and give them everything. Like Thanksgiving dinner. So here you go, take it all, and then I got this part, everybody do their part. I learned that my squad leaders were more effective when I gave them just some of it. Because I don't want them to feel overwhelmed. Let me feel overwhelmed. Let me be in my PL and everybody else be a little more stressed out. Okay, so let me look at this. So then I'll be like, hey man, can you just square this away? I just need you to square this away. Hey, can you go square away the inventories on this? I just need you to close the loop on that. And what's the deal with my training schedule for the next 8 weeks? We're good? Good. Okay, you three got it? Good, get out of here. All right. Then they come back to me in 48 hours and I'm like, hey, I just got a couple other little things. And I start to not overwhelm them. So that's something I want you to look into is think about how you proportionally give your tasks and you delegate your tasks to your NCOs, to your leaders, to your soldiers. There's a big reason for that. It's not just giving them the full thing and letting them consume it. You do it. And then I could prioritize it too. Like, I need this one done first. Hey, can you get this? Those are little things. Let's see. Where are we at? 7. Let's go 7. Okay, 7. So, this one is pretty cool. I had a question on here saying the different leaders that I had growing up. It's a loaded question. So some of the different leaders I had growing up, and this is the young army, the old army, I should say. Back when you would do wrist and elbow spins and some knee spins, and you'd go run 5 miles. There was no MMD1 or prep drills or nothing. You just... Yeah, that was 2 minutes. It's 40 degrees outside. We're going to go run 5 miles today. That's how you would do it. You just go. And that was that kind of leader where it was just kind of like, hey, I don't need your opinion. You're not in my rank. I don't need your opinion. And now we have a world where everybody will listen and provide those levels of leadership. So some of the different leaders I had, and the first one you always go back to, and not everybody has this capability, and I wish everybody did, was I go back to my dad, and I think about my dad as a leader. He was... that man still sets his alarm for 4 a.m. every single day. He didn't do it. He didn't complain. He didn't, nothing. Like, he just got up, got to work. If he had to work 2 jobs, he did it. If he had to work 3 jobs, he did it. If you didn't see him, he did it. And then still showed up in my football practice, still showed up over here, Just that quiet professional, right? And then I think about my mom. My mom was the same kind of leader, right? She, but was more vocal, and that's the vocal side that I get now, and I'm happy. I'm more extrovert through my mom because she'll just tell you how it is right here. I don't have time to beat around the bush. I'm going to tell you how it is right here, and I'm going to wear it all on my chest. So having both of them be a little yin and yang was awesome. It really made me who I am. So, and then also I'll tell you one of the ones that some of the leaders that really did affect me. You guys commonly see my tattoos, and you'll see them. And if you don't know, I don't know if we can get it in here, but on my arm here is Jon Snow. Big Game of Thrones fan. Love Game of Thrones, but love Jon Snow. And everybody's like, well, you love Game of Thrones? I'm like, I do. But I love Jon. If you guys watch the show and you see a young Jon, just eager to kind of be in charge of something, no one believed in him, made a lot of mistakes as a leader. Like, didn't listen to people below him, just wanted to try things out, then learned the hard way on a lot of things, then made decisions that people were like, what? How are you thinking that far ahead? How do you know this? I don't know if I should follow you. I don't know if I do. And then he does these things, and his leadership style, and every fight, he's the first one in the fight. He wants to be there. He does it with pride. He does it with his name on his chest. And he learned a lot of things along the way. So I really connected with Jon, and I love Jon because of his path as a leader. He wasn't the best leader in season 1 and 2, and he wasn't the best in season 5 and 6, and he was still learning in season 8. So I love Jon. I love Game of Thrones. So you'll see that on there. You see Jon Snow and Ghost, and then the Wall. Yeah, big fan of Jon Snow. So a different leader that really impacted me, and he impacted me a lot. The way he kind of treated the lower people below him, the higher people above him. If you watch the show, you'll like Jon Snow. What are we on? 8 here. Let's do this. All right. So this is a pretty good topic here. Talk OPTEMPO and what the service member can do to prepare themselves and their families. The first thing I want to say is talking OPTEMPO and what a service member can do to prepare themselves and their families. This is tough, right? This is definitely tough because it really depends on where you go. If you're on, Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty now, the OPTEMPO there is crazy. It's awesome. I love it because it's just so you gotta go, and you either sink or you swim very, very quickly there. The thing I could say is always prepare, and I told my soldier this when I was a drill. I said, you should be talking to your spouses, your siblings, your parents, everybody, and tell them what you're doing and what some of the lingo means. Like, I'm going to a formation. They don't know what a formation is, and as pointless as they may or may not be, they think you're going to die. Okay? They don't know no better. Okay? And it's not their fault. But if you don't have military in your family and your ranks and the, they need to know these things. So what I want you to do is always tell them what is happening. Tell them I'm doing this. This is what this means. We go here. We do this. If you need to tell them those things, those will help you with being prepared, right? And then also, you need a strong spouse. I don't care what anybody says. You need a strong spouse. Me having my wife now, and all the times I've had to leave for TDYs, for missions, for deployments on short notice, 48-hour notice, I'm leaving. I got to go for 3 weeks. I'll see you later. Even when we didn't have kids, when we did have kids, the burden that puts them on is extreme. So how do you keep them prepared? And to me, I think it's the knowledge. When you put a uniform on and go to base, they don't know what's going on. They're not in the military. They don't know the lingo. They don't know what any of that stuff is. So I think it's an educational thing, is telling them what these things are and bringing them into your military world somewhat, right? I don't bring everything to them because I think there's a level of stress that if you don't know, for the last 5-6 years running, an enlisted service member was the number one most stressful job. Not a heart surgeon, not 911 operator, not fireman, whatnot, enlisted. And there's a multitude of reasons why, but at least you understand that. So what I tell you is, when it comes to OPTEMPO and what you can do to prepare, is just communicate. You really, really need to talk to them, and then have fail-safes in place. I'd love to have my wife's parents come out if I'm leaving. I'm leaving for a month. Can your parents come out for a month? I'll fly them out. I'll pay for the flights. Get them out here. Come on. And that's awesome, right? My parents come out. They come out and help out. Whatever. Anything you could do to help that burden a little bit, especially when you got kids. Do those things, and they'll help each other out. All right, I want to jump to a question one of my brothers in here put in here. He put, now that you live in Germany, are you going to give soccer a shot? I am. I'm going to definitely give soccer a shot. My son loves soccer, and we watched everything that we could of the World Cup that just happened, a year ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. We love the World Cup. So we are going to watch more and more soccer. We love Messi, so we've been watching a little bit of him every now and then when we can, but we cannot wait for the World Cup to go. But we do need to dive into some of the local area now that it's local to us, soccer. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yes. And when football comes up, though, I got to stop everything. I love football. All right, so I think we were on number 9 here. This was a good one. Uniform tips. So, do I have any more uniform tips? The first tip I have is, if you're not folding up paper into 4s and putting them in your pocket so they're nice and sharp, so your pocket doesn't just wrap around, it's all a loop, it should look nice and present. If you're in garrison, for all the comments, here they come. When you go out to the field, you're gonna... Yeah, I get it. Okay, I got you. Okay, I know. I'm talking about garrison. Put some in there and make your uniform stand out nice and tight, okay? 2, sew on your stuff. Sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. Sew on your uniform. Sew on your rank. Sew on your name tapes. Stop telling me it's about money. Stop telling me about this. Stop. No. Sew on your stuff. Make your stuff look presentable. And you should get new uniforms every quarter, every 6 months, at least 1 or 2, because it shows quickly. Okay? But I'm telling you right now, if you're not sewing your stuff on, I'm sorry. You can get mad at me. I'm not really caring. Sew your stuff on. It's not difficult. I don't even think the Velcro should be allowed. It's just me being honest. So, there's your clickbait. I don't even think Velcro should be allowed. Other uniform tips. Let's see. I did my boot blousing one, and it's probably I think it absolutely is my most watched video on YouTube. Because it's just an easy thing to do, and everybody has their own thing. It's one of my most interesting videos because no matter what, everybody has their own boot blousing technique. No matter what, you have your own technique. I have my own technique, and it's okay. I'm just showing you my side, and you can take a look at it and see if it works out. Cool. If you can hybrid it, great. Let's see if I have any other ones. So I do also cut off the tags inside my jacket, specifically on the summers, has 2 tags right at the bottom here. I cut them off so it makes it look a little more seamline, a little more streamlined. They look a little better when you iron them out. So yeah, did that. Any other uniform tips? I don't think so. Let's shift to 10. This is a big one. It's a loaded one right here. NCOERS for new sergeants. The first thing you're going to hear from people is these NCOERS don't matter. Or check this one out. Tell me if you heard this one, young NCOs. We want to show growth. So I want you to start here, then we're going to show growth. No, none of that junk is true. It's all a joke, right? It's all a joke. If you can ace a test, you ace a test. You don't sit down on a test and say, the best you can do here is a B+. No, that's not true. If you're performing as the best, you're the best. That's it. Now, can the NCOER still say that they need to have growth? You're going to grow no matter what, whether you're in the ranks or not. You're going to grow and develop. And I've told you this before. If you're new to my channel, the only reason I started my channel was because after you become an E5, no one cares about you no more. That's it. No one develops you, no nothing. You just figure it out through experience. The Army is all about, did you experience something? You learned? You're better now. That's it. Whether it's good experience or bad experience. Period. That's it. Okay? So go back to what I'm talking about. These new NCOERs is, don't get wrapped though in, I have to be the best, I have to be the best. Like, I'm the best thing ever, cream of the crop, top one, period. It's okay to go in there and be like, yeah, I do need to work on this. If you're not doing that as a leader and not being like, yes, I need to get better in this. I do that every day. I do that all the time now. I'm like, dude, what do I need to get better? I need to get better at this. It's okay, right? I still have, I'm the best in the business, and that's it. I either win or I learn. I don't lose. That's it. Now, on these new NCOERs, I want you to pay attention to the levels of impact, right? And if I'm a new E5, I need to impact my team. What success is my 3, 4, 2, 1 soldier underneath me having? That's your NCOER. You can have some cool bullets on there. You went to this school, you went to that school, you did some things, cool. But it's all about impact. NCOERs are 100% about impact. What did you do? And then what did it cause? Action, impact, right? And so if you're a new E5, you need to look at action and impact. If you had a soldier in your ranks fail on ACFT, I got them on a PT plan when 60 days, I got them to pass, and now they got their promotable status. But what is the success, right? I was training on this land nav and did this class for these people, and about 20 service members did it, and 18 of them passed in under 2 hours. Great, action and impact. There's something there. So I need you to look at action and impact when it comes to NCOERs. That's the big deal. And then, as crazy as it sounds when it comes to NCOERs, every day that goes by, they're more and more political. Every day that goes by, it's show it to Sergeant Major, then this Sergeant Major loves it. Then you show it to this Sergeant Major, like, what is this? This is trash. It doesn't, they're so political now. They're so, I have the right way, you don't have the right way, but I followed the regulation and clear, concise verbiage and action and impact. I did this thing, but somehow you need 3, the thing that's exhausting about them is how different they'll always continue to be. And when somebody says, well, this is the best one I had, it's the best one ever, and no one knows what the best one ever is. No, you just can't no more. Like, it's just so, who's reading it? If they're airborne and drill sergeant, maybe they like it. If they're not, maybe they like this. Maybe they like, it all just depends. I don't want to spiral too much on that one. All right, let's go to, okay, I did have some other personal questions. So another personal question was, if you guys don't know me, I'm a big football fan, not a foosball fan, not yet. We'll see, we'll get there. I'm a big Bears fan. I do have another tattoo of a Bears in there. I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and people want to know my Bears thoughts. So first off, my Bears thoughts are, I'm excited for Caleb Williams. I'm sad to see Justin go. He just couldn't get over the hump. I didn't want him to go, but at the same time, you got to succeed in this league. And I know you can make excuses about this offense coordinator, this, the weapons, this, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm excited for Caleb because I think we're having a team right now that just looks ready to win in the next 12 to 18 months. The money's fixed. It's a good time to be a Bears fan. It's a good time to be a Bears fan. I'll tell you that. It's a good time. Let's jump right back to number 11. And I think this is my last one. Yes, I think it's my last one. Let's go into this one. So, leadership involvement from a specialist to first sergeant. So it was tough to see where we're going with this question of when it comes to involvement. Because I think when it comes to a leader, your involvement is really kind of your own. I've seen some E5s step into the ring with 6s and 7s and say, I want to do this, let me do this, I'll take care of that, and they can do it. And then I see it, kind of the other way around, where it's like, there's 6s and 7s that don't want to do anything. They don't want to get in there. You can see them kind of sit back in the chair a little bit and lean back and be like, oh, you're gonna get it. Oh, I was gonna get it. So I think leadership involvement, I think you see it differently at all different ranks. What I want to tell you is that if you have a chance to demonstrate your leadership capabilities, do it. Because like I said earlier in here, is the biggest, hardest thing to do is after you're an E5, you just kind of have to figure it out on your own. And it's sad. It's sickening. I hate it about the Army. It's the only thing. It's the reason I started my channel, was literally to say, let me give you what I learned, because no one's doing LPDs. No one's doing NCOPD. And I think for the biggest thing I can ever give for leadership kind of involvement is getting in there and being willing to fail. And it's okay. NCOs will love you for it. Officers will love you for it. Get in there and fail, and it's okay. Somebody might hate you, I guess. Somebody might not be like, dude, you failed at this. You totally boloed. You didn't bring any water. You didn't do this. You didn't do this. It's okay. You got in there. You got in there and tried it. You got in there and got after it. You accepted it. That's the challenge, right? To get out of your seat, take your seatbelt off, and go to work, okay? And that's a big deal for any E4, E5, E6, anywhere. There's E7s that don't do it. So doing that is where you're going to learn the most, is where you're going to grow the most, period, point blank and over. So you've got to be able to do it. But the biggest thing, and one of the second biggest things, I guess I'd say, is having the resiliency to come back. That's the only way you win in the Army. The only way you win in the Army is if you try something, you fail at it, you come back, you succeed at it, you move forward. That's it. And the best, and the people that have been in 20, 18, 30, all these years, just were willing to take the hits and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Thanks, Rocky. One of the best speeches ever. That's what I can't say it enough, though. That's exactly how it is, though. Like, in the Army, you could talk to anybody in the Army and you'll get I didn't get this job, I didn't get this position, I didn't get this promotion, I didn't get this, I didn't get this, I didn't get this deployment, I didn't get this award, son, I didn't get this. You could talk to anybody, officer, warrant, enlisted, it doesn't matter. You talk to anybody. Everybody has a story. I have 100 of them. And I kept going, though. And some people, though, and it's okay, some people get out because they don't want to take those hits no more. They don't want to take those hits no more. And I see that more often enough. And that's one of the biggest, most disheartening things about it, is that it's difficult. The Army is difficult. And I think it's like a lot of other jobs out there, though, anywhere in the U.S. or across the globe. So, but I think if I had to give you those tips is be willing to try something, be willing to fail something, because failing is part of success, period, point blank and over. And if you're not doing that and you're too scared to fail, then you're not prepared to succeed. It's just that easy. You have to be able to do it. In an army, if you can't be willing to take the hits and take the hits and take the hits and keep going forward, then it might not be for you. And that's okay. So, well, for me, it looks like we covered a lot of this stuff here. Hopefully you guys had a good time. It's a little unfiltered, see how much I edited. I'm trying not to edit it. And just let it be and let it ride and see how it goes. This was awesome. Maybe I'll do some more. So if you stuck around and watched the whole thing, thanks for staying through. I'm going to do some more of these, maybe just more in depth and try different camera views and different lightings and trying all new things. Hopefully it was good. Hopefully you learned something. And what I will tell you is, as always, if you're still here, please hit the subscribe button, stay with me, like, share, follow, any of those things. It just helps us all out so we can keep growing the community, keep growing the leaders that are around here. We need them in the military. And what I'll tell you is this, and as always, that's the drill.